It is impossible to tell the story of Atlanta without discussing the importance of the railroad industry.
All aboard. And a new exhibit at the Atlanta History Center takes visitors on a train ride back in time with the help of some incredible artifacts. Good Day Atlanta's Paul Milliken live there this morning. Good morning to you, Paul.
Yeah, good morning. And Buck actually asked if I would start this by getting tied up in ropes and laid down on the tracks in front of the Texas. No, it doesn't move. Sorry, there's no keys to the ignition in that train back there. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, good morning, everybody. This really is a fascinating morning. So we're at the Atlanta History Center, one of my favorite places. And I think everybody kind of knows how important the railroad is to Atlanta and the building of the city. But I'm not sure we all know really the scope or how the depth of that tie. And that's what this exhibit is all about. And this is Jackson McQuigg from the Atlanta History Center. How are you?
Good morning.
It's great to see you. And I got to tell you, I've already learned so much more than I even thought I would. And we haven't even really started to get into things yet. So there's a lot to be learned here. This new exhibit is called Locomotion, Railroads and the Making of Atlanta. So explain a little bit about what we're going to see here.
So we are at the terminus of the Western and Atlantic Railroad.
Yeah.
And we've got a Western and Atlantic engine from that railroad that was basically the reason why Atlanta was founded here.
Yeah.
And so the Texas locomotive here, built in 1856, been part of the cyclorama display for many, many years.
Yeah.
Now we have it out up in front at the Atlanta History Center for everybody to see and enjoy. You can go into the cab.
You can actually touch the Texas now, which you could never do before. And like you said, actually climb inside. So let's talk about the Texas. I think a lot of people who grew up here maybe went to the cyclorama. They heard the story about the great locomotive chase of 1862. Tell me how the Texas was involved in that.
Well, the Texas was the engine that the pursuers were riding when they actually caught up to the guys that stole the general. And so we're very proud of that history, and you can actually walk in the footsteps of the pursuers when you come aboard the Texas here at the History Center.
Yeah, and it's famous because of the great locomotive chase, but that was only one day. I mean, this was in operation for a long time, right?
Nearly 60 years, so it's been a good part of its life here in Atlanta, actually working on commerce, basically pulling freight trains. It did some passenger work.
Yeah.
It's got a great history and a very rich one at that.
And it really is cool to see up close. And speaking of that, it's time to go on board. So when this was at the cyclorama, I think a lot of you guys remember this, you couldn't go on board. There were rails around it. You couldn't get up close, but now you can. You can be a real engineer with Gordon here. So this is pretty amazing. Tell me kind of what we're looking at in here. Where exactly are we standing?
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
To the Texas. This is where the engineer and the fireman would operate the locomotive. All right, so you're taking coal from back here behind you. You shovel it into the firebox right here, which creates the fire, which warms the water, makes the steam, drives the locomotive. So this is where the locomotive was operated.
That is fascinating. And again, so cool that you can stand right here. And I heard this rumor. Now, this is not something anybody else is allowed to do, but because, you know, I'm Paul Milliken and I get to try some fun things. No, don't worry. I'm not taking it anywhere. We're not going to do a reenactment of the chase, but can I ring the bell?
Just this one time.
One time I get to do it, so we got to make this count, all right?
So you're going to have to reach out the window here. Reach around the window.
Okay.
This is a very delicate operation.
Here we go.
Right? Give that rope a big tug.
Oh, I love that.
He said one
And
time.
I just woke up everybody here in Buckhead. That's where you probably can't tell. That's really loud. I can see why they don't let visitors do it, because nobody would get any work done here at Atlanta History Center. Again, you can come check this out now. It is finally here and open on display. And there's another really cool artifact here called the 0 milepost. And coming up in the next hour, we're going to tell you what it is. We're going to show it to you and explain why it's really a vital piece of Atlanta history. So stay tuned for that.
Let's go back to work on what I asked you to do in the first live shot. Maybe you can do that next hour, okay?
We'll see. Again, I don't think this is going to move anywhere, but I'll try.
All right. Thanks, Paul. The Atlanta History Center is located at 130 West Paces Ferry Road Northwest. It's open from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Saturdays and noon to 5:30 on Sundays.